Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. This is yours truly, and I'm in a secret location. I'm not going to tell you where I'm at. I'm feeling the effects of old man winter. It is freezing cold. And it's really chilly where I'm at right now. And let's see, someone wanted me to do a video about therapists profiting off of the problems of Americans. And you know, why not? Maybe I'll talk about that because in the previous video, some crazy woman accused me of hating all American women and think that all American women are bad. And this all started when she watched one of the videos on this channel. It was a video titled American Women Suck, New Manchester Extreme. And this video is really old. I made that video like a long time ago. Back when my friend Captain Brandon Horror Lover was active and commenting on videos like that in the past and other videos as well on this channel. So anyway, this woman by the name of LovelyStarChild, a miserable California bitch, said that that video that I made by saying this, someone who made this video has psychological problems and they need help. And I stupidly went back and forth with this crazy woman in the comments on that video. She was saying that I have psychological problems. And then when I spoke to her, she told me I didn't need to write a novel or a book or something, and told me to look for Bitter Brian. Well, I found out what Bitter Brian means. It means Bitter Brian. Bitter Brian means go find a prostitute. Go find a hooker for sex. And all of that, she said that to me, and every man who failed to find a woman in America, that it's our fault. And you know, all that nonsense she said didn't bother me at all. Cause you know, at the end of the day, all that stuff she said to me, she basically was just hurting herself. And I know there's a lot of women in the United States of America who are like her. And you know, and that's the reason why a lot of American men are not fucking with these women. That's why they're heading abroad for foreign women. But I'm not going to say all foreign women are angels, women outside the US. I'm not saying that they're all angels. Some are bad, but at the end of the day, there's more good in their camp than bad. But all in all, you know, foreign women are better. They make good girlfriends, wives. You know, and foreign women believe in they believe that men are important. They value men. They treasure men. They're not going to demonize and put men down like that toxic bitch in the previous video did to me. So, yeah, and by the way, that woman said I need to go see a therapist. Well, hearing all the things that she said to me, she's the one who needs to go see a therapist. And, you know, before and I'm going to say this, I'm not thinking about what that woman said to me because, you know, I had a lot of things on my mind as of late, you know. Yeah, I heard about this man in the south of France, southern France, who who went online and got a lot of men telling them online to come to his home and rape his sedated wife. He did this after he drugged his wife. And that shocked France. And I heard that the guy got 20 years to life in prison for this. That's what I heard. So, yeah, men like that are slime. They're scumbags. But, at the end of the day, the man who told all of these men to rape his wife online, he apologized and he admitted that he was wrong. But there was women in France who didn't feel sorry for him because of how he was and what made him did what he did. And he said that he was raped as a child, I guess, and he said that he thought that telling all these men to rape his wife was a game or something. He viewed men raping women as a game. And it's not a game. It's sick and it's wrong. If I was a married man and I had a wife, I would never, ever get a bunch of men online and tell them to come to my house and rape my wife. And before all of that, I drugged her by putting some knockout drugs in her drink or in her food. She consumes the food or drinks the drink with the knockout drugs in it, and she passes out. And after that, I go and tell every man online to come over to my house and rape my wife. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not. At all. Yeah, I'm not going to do anything like that. That's disgusting. But if you do something like that, you should answer for your crimes, and you should. Well, let me get into this video about therapists are profiting off of the problems of Americans. Okay, let me start off like this. Yeah, you got a lot of therapists in this country. They're part of the mental health they're part of the mental health industry. They just make money off of people's problems by talking to them and directing them to see shrinks, a psychiatrist, so they can take some pills. And these pills that they're gonna take are gonna make them better. Like antidepressants, it's just crazy here in the US. Just the mental health industry with a lot of therapists and psychiatrists, they're just racking up the cash. They're just raking up. I'm going to say raking up. Yeah, just raking up the cash over talking to people who have a problem. But I look at this, in foreign countries outside the U.S. and I heard this from Winston Wu, the founder of Happier Abroad. And I heard about this, according to Winston Wu, if you live abroad outside of the U.S., you live in a country where people won't tear you down. They'll help you. You'll be around. well, you'll be in a country where well, what I'm trying to say is you'll be in a country where where you have family and friends to talk to if you have a problem, and there's no need for you to go to a building to talk to a stranger like a man or a woman and just tell them your problems, and they just see through your problems, and they don't pinpoint your real problem or what is the cause of it. They just lie to you and just focus on you. Oh, there's something wrong with you. You fear people. You're crazy because you said this and that. Blah 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 blah. Oh, like you're afraid of people. And I was forced into seeing a mental health profession and a bunch of shrinks by my father, and none of that didn't help me. I was prescribed to take some pills from a shrink to tell me on quote unquote help me cope with my problems. Well, outside of the US and in some foreign countries, I don't know how other countries are. I think in some foreign countries there's no need for you to go through all of that. There's no need for you to see a therapist or a mental health profession. Yeah, you just talk to people, a friend or a family member. You can talk to them about your problems and they will help you out, and after that, you'll feel good about yourself because they're not going to ignore your problem. They're not going to tear you down and make you go crazy and make you lose it. None of that. So, I feel foreign cultures outside the US is better. But yeah, going back, I see the mental health industry is just a money making machine because these therapists really don't give a shit about you. They don't care. In the US, if you're a person who doesn't have a mental illness, you have a 50-50 chance of developing a mental illness because you're around a very toxic, loop-sided, upside-down, broken, inept country that has some people in it that are like that. Like, I'm not trying to bash all Americans. I mean, there's some good Americans in this country. I'm just going after the Americans who like to just tear people down, who are responsible for creating mass shooters. Because let's keep in mind that the U.S. is a country that creates killers just by simply just tearing people down, telling them that they're not good enough. And, you had all the chances in the world and you blew it. And you can't hold a job because you have a temper, and you won't be able to learn anything because you have learning issues. And if you can't find a woman as a heterosexual male in the United States, that's your problem. And all women in America don't owe men anything. And quit deflecting with your Winston Wu logic. And just shut up and just go for bitter Brian, meaning to go and get a hooker for sex. A country that can dish all of that out. And they get in all of this, they get their mental health fragmented and destroyed and they are forced by family members or a total stranger to go see a therapist, a person that's just going to just get their money and not going to help and not going to help them with their problem and see what the problem is. You know, a typical therapist here in the United States of America will never tell you to simply just leave the sinking ship, which is the United States of America, and move abroad to a saner country that's good for your mental health, a country that believes in social human connection, a country that lets you be yourself, give you the freedom to be yourself, and have social freedoms, the freedom to socialize with anybody. Yeah, a country, you can do all that in a country where people won't judge you and tear you down and make you out as the problem. But a therapist, and all therapists here in the United States, aren't going to say that. They're not going to touch this stuff because it's taboo. And going abroad is not an option. The problem is you need to stay in the U.S. and fix yourself. And take these pills. These pills are going to help you, quote unquote, cope with your problems. And after all of that, they're going to be buried, completely buried in a huge pile of green pieces of paper with dead presidents on them. And I think the therapist business probably exists in Canada as well. But I don't know about Canada, but but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I mean the mental health industry here in the US is just a business. I mean, therapists all over America do not care about you. They don't. All they care about is making money off of you. And that's it. They deal with your problem, they kick you out, and go to the next person. They're not your friend. And this is what, with the declining birth rate here in the US, all these mass shootings, a criminal who's going to become president of the United States of America. I mean, this country's in bad shape. I mean, going back to the birth rate, I mean, yeah, I heard that people are choosing not to have children because of the economy, and they don't care about how the family unit works. I mean, you got people online saying stuff like this: "Boo-hoo, ooh, boo-hoo, whatever. You can't have boo-hoo, boo-hoo. You want a family, but you can't find a woman to start a family. Can't start a boo-hoo, boo-hoo." I'm sorry, but ooh, boo-hoo. You can't find a woman to start a family with. Oh, go cry, bitter Brian. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Like, that's just so selfish and just mean-spirited. I mean, you got women who talk like that. Women and men talk like that. So let me tell you something. I mean, okay, how did you exist? Okay, why are you living? Because your parents fucked each other. Your parents did some fucking for you to exist. your father stuck his penis into the vagina of your mother, and he released his semen, his sperm, into her, so one of the sperm can fertilize the egg, and that's why you exist. Yeah, and also I think behind the declining birth rate is, it's like this. Winston Wu brought up a good point about this. The declining birth rate in a country that has it is where people are not open and social and friendly and closed off and standoffish. Not a friendly country, not an open, sociable country, but a country that's sociable, that's open, that believes in social human connection, that is friendly, tend to have an extremely high birth rate or normal birth rate. And that's true, and you got people who bring in politics and said that, oh, the economy is bad. Well, people who started families a long time ago, times were hard. They were living in bad places, and the economy was bad, and they started families. You don't have to be a millionaire or a billionaire to start a family. You have to be a trust fund baby to start a family. Because my mom and dad, my dad served in the military. He fought in the Vietnam War. And he started a family, with the birth of my older brother. And then with my sister, then with myself. My parents were poor, my mom and dad loved each other, but wealth isn't about anything. It's about you love that person, you care about that person. You don't love someone because of how much money they have or how cool they are, and they have a nice car, and going back to that woman who saw one of my videos on this channel, she said that, what did she say? I forgot what she said. Yeah, I think she said that all women, she said there's a lot of good women in America. A lot of good women in America. Well, if that's true, then I probably have a girlfriend right about now, and probably I'll go past that and have a wife right now, be a married man with a wedding ring on my finger. If there's a lot of good women in America. But seeing how she was talking to me in the comment sections on one of the videos on this YouTube channel, she is not a good woman. She's a terrible woman. She's just a mean-spirited woman. It's like to tear someone down. And I think I said this before, all the things she said to me, she's not hurting me. She's hurting herself. But in her mind that she's strong and she'll just say anything just to tear me down, just to win. And she says she doesn't care about anything that I say to her. Well, I don't care about what she says to me. You guys heard me laughed after I read her ridiculous comments, her silly, crazy comments. I just busted out laughing. Everything she said just basically just went over like a fart in church. as a person who has all the Americana sucked out of me from going abroad, I don't know. I'm just like those people who live overseas, who live outside the U.S., people who live across the Atlantic. We don't care about your lame American bullshit, and we don't. I think a lot of American expats think that way as well. So 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 the mental health industry is just basically just a money making machine, and these therapists and these shrinks don't care about people's problems. They just say anything and just make money. That's what it's all about. It's just a money making industry. But money isn't everything, because this is what the US is all about. It's all about making money. Money, 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 money. That's what it's all about. It's all about making money. But to me, money isn't everything. I don't care about money. Yeah, I don't think about money until I need it. When I get the money, I don't even think about it at all. Yeah, also I'm aware that you got countries outside of the US, Western countries outside of America, have problems just like the US does. I think, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia. I don't know about New Zealand. Yeah, but I heard that Australia has a housing crisis, and Canada has a housing crisis too. So I have no interest in living in any of those countries. And I remember a nutcase, a weirdo by the name of Knowledge Variable, tells me to come to Australia and meet your fans. Well, what are my fans in Australia? Bunch of weirdo, whacked out conspiracy theorists? Because, I have no interest in meeting those people. I have no interest in moving to Australia at all. So anyway, the mental health industry here in the U.S. is just profiting off of the problems of the American people who have a problem. But I'm not going to say mental health doesn't exist in this. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that like people weren't born with a mental illness. You got people who are born with a mental illness, and they do. But the people who don't have a mental illness, who develop a mental illness, people who don't have a mental illness, who develop a mental illness through this toxic society here in the U.S. Which they have a 50-50 chance of getting. Hey, and it's not good for them, and they don't need to stay here in the U.S. They can just go abroad. Okay, that's all I gotta say in this video. Let me end this, and it's very, very, very cold in here. Old man Winter is kicking my ass. Okay, that's all I gotta say in this video. Cheers, au revoir, goodbye.